Namo Namaha. Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about three of the major approaches or interpretations of Vedanta. Vedanta being the final message at the end of the Vedas. And various teachers over time have read it and looked at the Vedas, looked at the scriptures or shastras, and have come to different interpretations. And there are various famous teachers in Hinduism known as Jagat Gurus or Jagad Gurus. Jagat means world, Guru, teacher, world teacher. And three of these world teachers are the champions of three distinct interpretations. One is called Madhva or Madhvacharya. Acharya means teacher, and it's sometimes added on to the end of a name as a sign of respect. So Madhvacharya is the champion of dualistic or Dvaita. And in that interpretation, God and people are separate, and they are eternally separate. God is God, people are people, and it's people's job to be the best version of themselves through devotion to and love for God, but they are eternally separate. And as such, this is the path most followed by bhaktis. As I mentioned in my previous video, bhakta is the approach of the devotee. So the path of devotion, the yogic path of devotion, bhakta, the bhakti is that follower, and they are dualists almost exclusively. So that was Madhvacharya. Then on the other side of the spectrum is my method, and that's called Advaita Vedanta. Advaita, Dvaita means dual, Advaita means not dual, okay, not separate. And this was championed by another Jagat Guru named Shankara or Shankaracharya. Okay? And what Shankara said was there is no difference, period. There's only Brahman, there's only God, there's only this great universal consciousness that is truth, that is bliss. And any belief in plurality is in fact false. It is false, just like looking at the ocean and thinking that the waves are different from the rest of the ocean is false because the waves have a temporary form. Okay, whether it's a tiny wave or whether it's a tidal wave, it's all ocean. It's only the name and the form that change. And in Hinduism, as we'll talk about later, that which is not eternal is not considered real. Okay, so that's Advaita. We'll get much more into Advaita on this channel. I'm just previewing the three types today. Kind of in the middle, but very much its own thing, is Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaita, and by the way, sometimes you'll hear me say the V, sometimes you'll hear me say the W. It's written as a V, but the V in Sanskrit and in Hindi is pronounced more like a W, so that's why that kind of happens. Okay, but Vishishtadvaita was championed by another great Jagat Guru named Ramanujacharya. Okay, and this was in many ways an attempt to reconcile some of the philosophical aspects of everything being Brahman with the love for the forms, or what are sometimes known as Ishtadevas, Ishtadevis, kind of like your preferred form of God, okay, which we'll also talk about in other videos. And what Ramanuja said, more or less, was that God is everything, but we are a part of that, and we stay distinct. So we kind of continue to have an individual existence, but realization recognizes that that individual existence is part of a greater divine existence. And analogies here are things like feathers on the back of a peacock. Okay, but these are the three major approaches. And one of the things that's very important in Hinduism, and one of the things that it does quite well, is that it respects the fact that you can take different approaches. Similarly to Buddhism's famous, there are many paths up the mountaintop, but the road is the same. Okay, in Hinduism, in my order, in the order of Sri Ramakrishna, we have the saying, as many faiths, so many paths. And then there's another one that's quite famous, that there are as many gods as men, or in the less sexist modern language, as many gods as practitioners. And this is because each one of us has to approach this question as an individual. And if we're unwilling to do that, then we're not really following our own path. We're just studying what others have done, right? It's kind of like reading everybody else's biography, but not living our own life. And ultimately, if you want to make progress spiritually, you have to be able to walk the walk. So where we start is wherever we are at the time. And one of the things that you can do is start to ask yourself, of those three things that I've just described, what feels most natural and most authentic to you? Because that's the path where you should start. And I hope that you find your path. And if I can aid you in any way, then I hope that I am able to do that. Thank you.